brought you down to the river to share a thought. Let me drift into the hole. So yesterday I was up in the high mountains yesterday. Not the real high mountains, but the foothills, the mountains that lead up to the Japan Southern Alps. The great mountains were beyond. I could see them rising into the clouds where the afternoon rains are always perennially, what do you call it, annually, not annually, daily an occurrence, at least in the warm months like now. You could almost see it forming. Anyway, I visited a couple of villages, really high villages. Not super high, but high relative to here. And I saw something that really stuck in my mind, and it's relevant to what I'm experiencing now at age 61, a little over 6 months into retirement, and more importantly perhaps, growing old. I really do feel like I'm growing old now all of a sudden. Both body and mind are in pretty rapid decline. That's startling. It's stunning. It's like what the heck? Anyway, the kind of a meta thought related to that was how I feel like I'm trying to escape from whatever status quo or routines or habit or familiar realms of thought and action that I've created for myself in the course of my life to expand and explore things in retirement so I can see if I can become somebody new, have a new life in this time, which is proving harder than I thought. And what I'm finding is that it's a lot more difficult than I imagined. In my book, Going Alone, I have objectives and principles that I've accumulated over the course of my life to codify my values. One of the principles is called, hold on, see, told you about my mind. Wow, yeah, this is what's happening. This doesn't come to me anymore. Let me layer another thought on top of that one in light of this. Take an exit off the junction here. So this is a different thought. Also, at this time, I'm realizing now that at age 61, boy, I'm glad that I finished my the life's work, the cerebral life's work that I wanted to do, which was the experiences that I wanted to have in the writing of the books that I wrote. I've written 6 books so far, and I'm glad I wrote all of them when I did, because I couldn't write them now. And I've often wondered why so many of my favorite authors, Hawthorne and Melville and others, seem to have written sometimes their best work at their younger ages. Maybe it's because that's when the iron's hot, right? I just don't think I could write Going Alone now. The immediacy of mind and the effervescence, the bubbling nature of things is gone. And it was here just 5 years ago. It was distant and secondary 5 years ago. It was ever present 10 years ago, right on the waning end. I really finished Going Alone just at the end, didn't I? Okay, so that's another point, right? Finish the work that you can while you can. During the season, I call it the season of philosophy. When the words come, write them down, or you may never have another chance. But back to that other thing. What's that other thing called? Oh yeah, the risk of avoiding risk. It's another one of my principles. And the risk of avoiding risk says that if we avoid the risks of doing the things that we want to do, of having the adventures that we want to have, and pushing beyond the whatever substrate of life that we've created that's safe and the same, we avoid the risk of taking chances, but there's still maybe more substantial risk of missing out on what we could have been and what we could have done, right? And I've often in my talks, in my Good Life meditations, I've talked about how we can push that off. We can say, well, I'm not going to take the risks until I'm safely in retirement. I'm not going to see the world. I'm not going to take up ice climbing, or I'm not going to do this, that, or the other thing, or become a person, or write a book, or paint a picture, or write a poem, or sing a song, or do whatever it is until I'm outside the milieu of the struggle. Well, watch out. The risk of avoiding risk suggests that at that time we may no longer be able to do such things. Back to the point I was saying about the high mountain villages I saw yesterday. There was one village I visited that was populated with ruined houses, ruined infrastructure, ruin everywhere. And I saw maybe a half dozen old individuals who seemed, as part of the infrastructure and part of the community there, of course I was there only for a half an hour. I didn't see any depths at all, and I wasn't there long enough to see any. So everything I'm saying is superficial, but it left me with the impression that now in retirement, whatever it is that I have done to build inertia in my life leading up till now, that's about what I can hope to get out of the remaining years. I mean, what more energy can I add to the system at this point in terms of diversity or newness or back to that effervescence? I just don't have it. My wife, my dear wife, she uses the term, and she'll correct me if I say it wrong, she uses the term a soft brain. She'll correct me if I say soft mind. English is her second language, but she marks the difference. She says that our brains, she's talking about the two of us, she and I, our brains aren't soft enough anymore to be pliable, to mold into new elastic structures of thought, of ways of being. She remarks about how our daughter could easily come up with solutions that you may, or solutions or ideas or even speculation that Yumiko and I are now beyond us due to our age and our inflexibility of mind. Our brains, as she would say, are too hardened. We don't have soft brains anymore. Mm-hmm. So now, bringing it home, this whole little talk here, amidst all of this, armed with freedom, armed with health, I'm strong, I'm still quite genki. Nevertheless, what's going on in here, it's no longer soft. What's going on here, it's becoming very soft. What's going on all of here is becoming a little bit timid, weak, and scared as a result of the perceived loss of everything else, falling into what's the coming ruin of me. Like that village that I saw yesterday and the people therein. I too will occupy my place in whatever limited scope I have set it for myself by virtue of the life that I have lived either in earnest or in fear from young adulthood until today. Okay, enough of that. Be safe but not too safe.